Alright, so here we are on part number 2. I just wanted to make sure we didn't get a video that was too long that it couldn't be uploaded for your viewing pleasure. Part 2 was to find the standard deviation. Remember, that had a couple steps. We had to multiply x squared times p of x. So before I multiply that, I'm first going to just create a column for the x squared. Remember, x squared is the value, the x value, times itself. So I'm just going to type in equals a2 times a2. I'm multiplying it by itself. I just clicked on that twice, separated by the multiplication sign. Now you actually only have to perform the calculation once, and then you can drag down and have Excel do it. Notice it knows 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3. It knew how to fill in all those squareds. Then I'm going to multiply the x squared value times the probability. Now you do not have to write a probability column there unless you want to. You can just tell it, multiply this value, the x squared, times the probability value I found before. Just by clicking on the ones you want it to multiply. Just be careful which ones you want it to multiply, the x squared times the probability. That's why I like to label everything. I'm going to do one more just so you could see what I did. The x squared value times the probability in the same row. And I'm just going to have Excel go ahead and complete the computations for me. Now we had a couple of steps in finding this. I had to find the sum of all of these values. So I had to find the sum, so I'm going to find the sum of all of these values. And then I had to subtract the mean squared. Now I have a mean right here of 1.8. I'm going to have Excel square it for me by just telling it to multiply by itself. D10 times D10, that's where I happen to put it. Yours might be in different places, but I'm just going to find that mean value, multiply it by itself, and then I'm going to subtract to get the variance. So I'm going to tell Excel, I'm going to do all my calculations in Excel just because, you know, it's here, it's handy, it's nice. I'm going to say the variance is the sum I got minus the mean squared. And then I want to find the standard deviation. I need to take the square root of the variance. And in Excel world, you can enter an SQRT, that means square root, open your parentheses, you do need some parentheses, and I'm just going to click on what I want to take the square root of. And I have my standard deviation. Now I'm just going to copy and paste. You can copy and paste the whole table if you want. I'm just going to copy and paste the work because I already copied and pasted the first table. I'm just going to copy and paste the work for the mean and standard deviation here. Beat and your standard deviation is 1.12. You do not want to have all of these values here without having some form of labels so I know you know what the mean and the standard deviation is. Okay. Now that was a look at how to use Excel to calculate this. How do we use the formula? There's formulas or shortcuts to calculate the mean and the standard deviation discussed in this section. The formulas are specific to the binomial distribution. They do not work for every distribution, just this one. And you want to multiply the n value times the p value, those were given to you, to find the mean. You get your calculator out. N times P is 1.8. It agrees with our old value. Well, that's good news. The formula for the standard deviation is a little bit longer. N times P times 1 minus P and take the square root. Well, our N was 6, our P was 0.3, 1 minus 0.3 is 0.7. So let's do some multiplication. 6 times 0.3 times 0.7 is 1.26. And then we want to take the square root. Remember, you can do this on your Windows calculator or any physical calculator you have with me. You can put in the 1.26 and take the square root, that funny looking check mark up in the upper right, and look, I get 1.12, just like I got using the old formulas. That was a heck of a lot easier, but it is nice to know that they agree. So that's a great look at the binomial distribution and using it to find the probabilities as well as the mean and the standard deviation.